also want to get your take on Peloton. Yesterday, CNBC reported the company is going to pause production of key bikes and treadmills, the stock plummeting more than 20%. Now, we have seen production pauses in other sectors, too, as companies grapple with shortages. But the supply chain isn't to blame here. It's a lack of demand that's the issue for Peloton. Peloton co-founder and CEO John Foley responded in a letter to employees in which he said, rumors that we are halting all production of bikes and treads are false. Notice that word all. Foley added that the company is resetting our production levels for sustainable growth. Nevertheless, investors not showing a lot of demand for the stock. Well, let me see. Is it up 8% right now? We'll see. Current levels overall, though, if you look at the trend, will take it below that 2019 IPO price of $29. Does this make it a vulnerable target for acquisition? The information floating Apple as an obvious buyer. Nilay, Apple doesn't buy stuff this big. Beats was like a huge buy for them at like $3 billion or something. But not to say they wouldn't do it, but it would be highly unusual, right?
Yeah, and they could buy this with pocket change. But then what would you have bought? You've bought a company in some amount of turmoil that completely misforecasted demand. That's the big pandemic bet, right? It's not that demand is zero. It's that they bought too much. They bought Precor. They created way too much supply, and they can't meet whatever demand returned to normal. And then there's no tech there that Apple can't build itself. They already have Fitness Plus. So I don't know why they would buy that.
Yeah, but Nilay, we talk so much about Apple as turning itself into a health company and all the health capabilities on the watch, et cetera, which of course already does integrate with the bike. Isn't this an opportunity for them to sort of leapfrog where they are in the health space without having to build all this tech itself? And if not Apple, is there another company that you think should look at Peloton?
I don't think Apple is the sort of company that buys something and can so easily build itself. And the biggest asset Peloton has is its instructors, which Apple can just hire. So there's just a part of me that says this doesn't feel right for a company like Apple. I do see a lot of consolidation in the space. There is Hydro, there is Tonal. People love Tonals. You can see Peloton trying to execute some kind of roll-up strategy with an infusion of cash and try to stake out that diversified product. They need to get to software margins. Peloton's product or Peloton's revenue is not bikes, right? It is subscriptions to those bikes. Mm-hmm. They need to start leaning on that and saying, okay, and almost anybody can subscribe. We can use distribution across multiple kinds of products to get the revenue we need. It's not, I think they got to get away from the idea that what they sell is bikes.
Yeah, Nilay, I'm totally with you. I keep asking sort of what is the proprietary technology that Peloton has? Yes, they have that subscription revenue. Maybe the talent is Apple going to shell out for Cody Rigsby and Jess Sims. I'm not sure. Perhaps the better question, though, and the better suitor could be a Nike or a Lululemon, right? That doesn't, unlike an Apple, doesn't really have tight control in the same way of their supply chains. And we know that Lululemon is interested in this space. They bought Mirror. Is it down there? Could Peloton be part of a more complete offering? But perhaps those are better names to look at?
Yeah, I think almost any of those companies that wants a presence in your home and a deep recurring revenue stream has good reason to look at Peloton. I think the real question is, can Peloton turn that recurring revenue stream into growth, right? And to do that, they got to get away from the idea that all they sell is a $1,500 bike. They got to get into other devices to make that subscription more valuable to existing customers who are all diehards. Right? It's not like people stopped loving their Pelotons. It's not like people stopped loving Cody Rigsby, right? So you got to get more money out of your existing base, and you got to grow the base by making the on-ramp to that subscription revenue a lot easier. And I think Peloton totally misjudged the pandemic and thought, okay, what people want is $1,500 bicycles.
Yeah, and it's tough to have a lot of inventory of something that big, that heavy, and that expensive. We'll see how they work it out. Nilay, thank you.